Now Jesus, having known before the feast of the Passover that this was his hour, he knew very well that he would step out of this world into his Father's embrace. He knew much love energy from his own, who would remain still in the world after his departure. He loved them completely. It was supper time, and the Diablos already had the heart of Judas Iscariot in sync with his own, which was to betray Jesus. Jesus was fully aware of the fact that his Father has given all things into his hands. He knew that he came from God and that his destiny was to return face to face with God. So he got up from the table and took off his outer garments and wrapped a towel around him. He then poured water into a basin and began to wash the feet of his disciples and dried them with the towel around his waist. When he came to Simon Peter, he protested, saying, "Lord, do you want to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You might not appreciate it now, but afterward you will understand the significance of what I am doing." Peter refused and said, "I will never allow you to wash my feet." And Jesus replied, "If I do not wash you, then you have no participation with me." Then Peter said, "Lord, not only my feet, but also my hands and head." But Jesus answered, "He that has already taken a bath only needs to wash his feet, for he is completely clean. And you are already clean, yet not every one of you." For Jesus knew who would betray him. That is why he said, "You are not all equally clean." So when he was done, he put his robe back on again and reclined at the table and asked them, "Do you understand what I just did? You call me your instructor and Lord, and it's good, for so I am. If I, your teacher and Lord, have washed your feet, you too ought to wash one another's feet. For I have demonstrated an example for you to mirror. For I would want you to know most certainly that the servant is not greater than his Lord, and the one sent is not greater than the one who sent him. To know these things is to find your joy in expressing them in your lifestyle. I am not talking about all of you. I have chosen you and know that one of you will kick me like a horse, just as it is written, even my trusted friend who ate bread with me has turned his heel against me. I'm telling you this in advance, so when it happens, you may be persuaded about me. I also assure you that whoever can identify with your mission identifies with me, and therefore identifies with him who he sent me. Having said this, Jesus was again deeply disturbed in his spirit and said, "I am telling you now that one of you is about to betray me." The disciples were confused, looking at one another and wondering who this person could possibly be. One of the disciples was leaning against the bosom of Jesus, cuddled up in his love. Simon Peter prompted him to ask Jesus who it was. So he did. "Jesus, who is it?" Jesus replied, "It is the one I'll give the morsel of bread to once I have dipped into the broth." He then dipped the morsel and handed it to Judas Iscariot, Simon's son. Wrapped up in that morsel was the opportunity for Satan to now fully engage the mind of Judas. Then Jesus said to Judas, "Do what you've got to do and get it over and done with." Even now, the other disciples did not suspect Judas in the least. Some thought that since Judas was their treasurer, Jesus asked him to go and buy necessities for the feast, or perhaps to go and give some money to the poor. With that, Judas left immediately, and it was night. Then, with Judas gone, Jesus said, This seals the glorification of the Son of Man, as well as God's glorification in him. In this joint glorification, God is glorified in himself. In God glorifying mankind in himself, his personal glory is not diminished at all, but fully endorsed. This is happening immediately and seamlessly. Little children, I am with you for a very little while. Then you will seek me, but as I said to the Jews, where I go, you cannot join me. So now I say to you, I give you a new commandment. Keep on loving one another, just as I have loved you. My love for you is the source of your love for one another. In this environment of your love for one another, everyone will come to know your discipleship onto me. Simon Peter then asked him, Lord, where are you going? Jesus answered, Where I am about to go, you are not able to accompany me right now, but you will afterwards. Peter said, But Lord, why can I follow you? Why cannot I follow you right now? I will give my life for you. Jesus said, Will you give your life for me? I say to you now, most certainly, will you have contradicted me 3 times before the cock crows.